This hero even won a gold medal for countering enemy ships, looking as massive as a fridge. Facing the inferno, Hika stood in the cockpit shouting like a fearless commander at an emergency meeting. The enemy was left dumbfounded by the scene and hastily turned to flee, only to become targets for the Dog country, disappearing into the clouds, leaving Hika with a heart flutter. Unfortunately, he had little time to think before crashing. Luckily, a smaller flying machine was below, so they had to muster courage to board. To everyone's surprise, he even took his arch-nemesis along for the ride, and below the clouds is a forest where they ran into fleeing villagers. Unfortunately, without a mask, they couldn't hear a word Hika said. In desperation, he awkwardly took off the mask and was left controlling the plane with his feet. He ordered them to discard the cargo, break the armor, terrifying them like ghosts. The Alliance begged the princess to wear her mask again and not throw the cargo. What a mix-up, Hika almost fell. They sought out a serene locale in the most secluded depths of the Forest of Fortune and came to a halt, pondering silently to themselves. Shooting at this moment won't escalate the situation further, will it? However, they were unaware that the early battle had already stirred up quite a commotion. The downed warships fell into the Sea of Fortune, and bizarre swarms of bugs came rushing in like they were chasing celebrities. Shooting might kick off a bug party. All he wanted was for everyone to be safe and sound, so he set a plan. Meanwhile, Kashana, trying to show off, started shooting in the Forest of Fortune. Kashana totally didn't believe Hika, but suddenly waves started to form on the water, and 2 enormous locusts popped up below. Witnessing this, Kashana was in disbelief, while the villagers were frozen. Turns out this was the Locust's home, and the Locusts approached with a look of absolute nonchalance, as if collecting rent. He walked over with open arms, and the Locusts, sensing his friendliness, reached out. There was a towering tree radiating life, and she saw memories of the tree, realizing this was a concert in nature. Soon, locusts in the forest erupted in frenzy, turning the planet into a bug party. Hika panicked as the Alliance pulled out gliders, venturing solo to the Locust incident site like a brave lone ranger, while a boy was that smart in locusts. This was the boy who had crashed thanks to Hika's antics, but he never expected the locusts could come in endless waves, with even stronger ones joining the fray. He had no choice but to turn and run, just as a monster swooped down, about to slice the boy in half. Fortunately, Hika swooped in to save the day. Unfortunately, they couldn't dodge the heavy cruiser's attack and ended up falling into a mysterious pit quicksand. How terrible. He woke up 500 meters underground, finding this place was like an evil version of the outside world, with water and sand so pure they seemed heavenly. Everything was the Locust's masterpiece. People only saw their bad deeds, not realizing they were the environmental heroes in disguise. Only by falling down the sand layer with beneath did humanity get a chance to learn the truth. What a shocking revelation. During their unconscious state, Hika dreamt of his childhood, seeing his parents. Life back then was so innocent and carefree. Little Hika, playing alone, knew nothing of danger, influenced by his father's stern demeanor. Behind him was a young locust, and at that time it didn't cause any trouble to the villagers. So Hika refused to hand it over while the villagers viewed it as the embodiment of evil. In the end, they took it away, and Hika pleaded, "Please, don't kill it. It still has a chance." Perhaps sensing its master had a nightmare, the fox squad came to comfort Hika. Just then, Benu returned Hika's coat. Though from different nations, they found me made as allies. Upon arriving here, Benu felt refreshed, wishing to stay inside, probably due to all the mask mandates outside. To his surprise, Hika was not only his savior but also saved his little sister. The two were slowly becoming friends. He found Hika was a bit different from the others. The cause of the Sea of Fortune made his ideas quite special indeed. The trees of the Sea of Fortune tasked themselves with purifying the chaos caused by humans. What an enlightening idea. They ingested the Earth's toxins, turning them into gleaming crystals, which then transformed into fine sand, and that's how these hollows were formed. Finally understanding the truth, he realized the intricacies of it all. However, humans really made a blunder with their methods. If the plan was to eradicate the Sea of Fortune, humans would just be waiting for extinction. How hopeless. However, poor Hika was so worn out, needing to fly a long distance tomorrow, he just fell fast asleep. Seeing this, Benu was shocked yet kindly covered Hika with a jacket. Meanwhile, Yuba sneaked into the base, plotting a world-class weapon spy-like moment. The nearby officer, greedy-eyed, initially saw mundane life, plotting to cash in. Once the leader left, he couldn't sit still, wanting to appease the villagers while patiently waiting for his opportunity. Fortunately, the captured individuals returned to the village, but the princess was nowhere in sight. "Let me go. I don't want to sink to the bottom of a Sire Lake with the giant god soldier. Your soldiers in Wind Valley are few. It's not hard to deal with you." Despite being at a disadvantage, he's still competent. Once the giant god soldier appears, it will be irreversible since he's the secret weapon to eliminate the enemy seas. All this was in the name of humanity's happiness, even sacrificing a tiny packet. Talk about a bottomless pit of greed. Yuba clearly knew how powerful the revived giant god soldier would be, had been an invincible hero. With his fearless nature towards fire and water, he could dominate the human world, unleashing another round of disaster. Just then, a kid hurried over, and cooked buns in the village were about to spread here.